What up, though? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Lawrence Report. On tonight's broadcast, we're discussing episode 8 of BMF. And I gotta let y'all know, this may be my shortest BMF video. Every other video I had of BMF so far has been maybe 15 to 20 minutes long. But I just found this episode right here to be boring. And I know that I've said in previous videos that every episode of BMF has been fire, but for this one, it was just okay, because I feel like they focus so much on the Red Dogs this episode, and they also focus on Meech trying to get the drugs set up in these vehicles with this mechanic, right? And end up going down to Miami. That's what we're gonna see on episode 9, right? But like I said, this is probably gonna be my shortest video. It wasn't much that I saw except the Red Dogs, Bryant, Henrietta, and Fine China. I've been calling Fine China, aka Detective Jen. They falling for each other. But I'm going to give a quick overview of this episode. I find it amazing that this one club, this gentleman's club, is the place where everybody hangs at. All your rivals, all your gangsters, all your enemies, all your homies, they all are at this one club. Like, is there nowhere else for anybody to go and party at besides this one club, this one little strip club? But yeah, we see, Meech is there, and we also see Glock, he's there, and oh my God, we see Angel. Like, did Angel really switch sides? Angel broke my heart, man. But I understand she's doing it to survive and trying to get the money the best way that she know how, but we also see in this episode, there's a young man, he's going to end up getting hemmed up by the Red Dogs, right? And that, basically alerts Meech to realize that, I got to get a better way to transport these drugs in these vehicles. So he does end up, making a deal, setting up shop with this mechanic, that we see. And they're trying to figure out a better way to do these drugs. They even take the drugs out for a test run. They end up using one of them boys. And whenever the Red Dogs pulled this dude over, we thought that it was some type of drugs, but I think it was actually baking soda. So again, the Red Dogs are highly aggressive in this episode because they're trying to stop the streets from supplying and distributing all these drugs right here. Let's switch gears and talk about Terry, right? Terry is still dealing with, when it comes to this guy, Vince, right here. Vince, comes down to Terry's shop, and he tells Terry, I just want to pay a visit to see what type of businessman that you really are. He says, I would hate, for, I'm paraphrasing here what he said, but, I would hate for the IRS to get involved in what you're doing here, because, you're not only selling pots and pies, you're selling a different type of pot and pie, if you get what I'm saying, right? And those two were going at it, and later we end up seeing Vince, he is still being a pest in Terry's thorn side, right? So Terry ends up telling his boy, like, listen, I need you to find out everything you can about this dude Vince, right? And Terry, whenever they're in the club, Terry read this man Vince for filth. He says, listen, I know what time you get up. Listen, I know you get up at 8:30 in the morning. You're going out to ride around. You're going to see these hoes and projects. You're going to eat these pork rinds. And then get back home. I think he said to watch, was it Wheel of Fortune or something like that around a certain time. So he read Vince for filth. I love that right there. And not to mention, like I said, Terry comes up with this lottery scheme to basically supply the work. So Terry is doing everything he can to undermine and undercut Henry at all costs. Now let's get into Terry's other love interest. I'm talking about the one and only LaWanda. We see LaWanda and Lucille, they are at Bible study. And the words that the pastor is preaching absolutely touches LaWanda. We see this picture right here that she's actually brought to tears. She realizes that I'm going to have to prepare for a life without Terry, but that's okay because I want to go back to cosmetology school, and the mom is always, Lucille is always going to rally behind LaWanda. She absolutely loves LaWanda so much. And speaking of Lucille, Lucille and Charles. You know, they are about to take a different level when it comes to their love, right? Apparently Charles ends up getting a gig to play for I forget the name of this band, right? And Lucille comes out and says, you know, is it okay if I bring Dr. Maurice? How how's she gonna ask that right there? How's she gonna ask that? And this band, you know, we know Charles loves music, right? And you know, Charles is doing his thing, they're playing the music, and I kept noticing this one shot. They kept putting the shot in Lucille, and I just thought to myself, maybe they are about to bring out Dr. Maurice, but they didn't. But that would have been so crazy. And Lucille asked him, have you ever thought about, what it would be like if we didn't have these kids early? And Charles told me, oh God doesn't make, no mistakes, right? And speaking of having kids and kids early, we got to talk about Nicole. Now, Nicole, she is seen, in this episode with her soon to be boyfriend, basically. He ends up giving her a note asking her, will you be my girlfriend? And, she agrees to do it. And, the dude who she's with now and the partner she's with, but the partner that her boy is with, he's like, yo, I'm about to go to the store, get these condoms. Like, do you need one? He's like, nah, me and Nicole, we're taking things slow. And outside the store, we end up seeing Terry. Terry ends up blowing up her spot. Now, Terry, why you got to do that? This young girl has been going through a whole lot. Let that girl breathe, man. I hated that right there because Nicole is looking for escape from, everything that it comes with the territory of being in that Flannery household. So he told Nicole to get in the car and they got to go. But he did do Nicole dirty. Let's get into Officer Brian. Officer Brian is seen here, being drunk as a skunk. And I completely understand what he's going through. He just lost Kevin. But like I said, he has to take some responsibility of losing Kevin, right? And Detective Jen comes over. She tells him, we're going to get Henry. We're going to get BMF. Just clean up yourself. I got you covered. And they end up going undercover, end up seeing one of Henry's partners, one of her A1 guys. I can't think of his name right now. But, it is revealed that this dude, apparently, I believe he was looking after Kevin. But at the same time, this dude here might have been one of the guys that kind of assaulted Kevin or told some of his boys to assault Kevin, right? And we do see at the end, Officer Bryant sees this guy in the alley by himself. He goes to work, kind of like the comic book character Bruiser. Yeah, the Bruiser, who his son was drawing up. Yeah, he went bruising crazy. So yeah, he did his work. And not to mention Detective Jen and Henry, they get into it. They end up kissing and making out. They humanize Henry in this episode. They showed her background, talked about, why she became the woman that she is now. So I thought that was dope. But her and Detective Jen end up kissing and making out. But, Detective Jen did see something in a picture, I believe, and it kind of scared her. Whatever that was in that picture, she immediately had to go. And not to mention, another reason why she had to go, because she didn't want to get too close to Henry, because I feel like it's just a matter of time before Henry finds out, about the identity of Detective Jen. Like I said previously, at the end, we end up seeing Brian, he goes crazy, Meech and Terry getting ready to go down there to Miami. And I really don't know how this episode, not this episode, but how this series is going to end for this season right here. We already know that, they're going to Miami, but what's going to happen after Miami? Are they going to shoot Glock and kill him in Miami? How are Meech and them going to make it back to the A safe and sound without either one of those guys getting hurt? We got Angel down there. I hope she doesn't die. But then again, she may be caught. She may be caught in a crossfire with Glock. I hope she makes it out alive. And that is my thoughts on this episode of BMF. And like I said, I'm excited for the next one. This one right here was kind of boring to me. I said at the top of the video. But the next one, I believe, will be on and popping. And as always, thank you for tuning in to The Lawrence Report.